We'll do some quick introductions. Thanks for introducing yourselves, Chase and Sarah. My name is Laura Petty, and I'm our Director of Development here at American Gateways. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing the screen for now. And I've been a part of American Gateways for about 15 years. Really love our organization and feel really proud to be a part of a group that upholds the dignity of immigrants and makes a really complicated system understandable and comprehensible. So very, very happy to be a part of this organization for so long. So joining me today, I'm going to have other folks introduce themselves. Emma, do you want to start?
Yeah, absolutely. Hi, everybody. My name is Emma. I am the Development Associate here at American Gateways. I started off as an AmeriCorps Vista, which the lovely Allison is this year. So just really excited to be here and connect with community members and other students and people who are just interested in learning more about immigration and looking to get involved. So really excited to meet you all.
And I can go after that, after the lovely introduction by Emma. As she said, I am the AmeriCorps Vista member. My role is capacity and fundraising improvement. I've been with American Gateway since July, and I will be here for a year. And I'm still just so excited to be a part of American Gateways and a part of their story, and always excited to see how we can connect with other people.
I can go next. Hi, everyone. My name is Edna Yang. I am the co-executive director here at American Gateways. I've been with the agency for 19 years. I started out as a staff attorney and then became the legal director and then deputy director. And now I work with our other co-executive director, Rebecca, to help lead the agency. So we're really excited to have you both here, and feel free at any time to jump in and ask any questions because it's a pretty small group. So
yeah. So really kind of our goal today is just to give you a firsthand experience about what our work looks like, and then hopefully inspire you to join us and partner with us some more after we chat this afternoon. So we'll be in touch with you to get some feedback and just hear from you about how you think this event went. And if you have any questions, again, like Edna mentioned, it's a small group. Feel free to jump in or drop a question in the chat. We'll have plenty of time afterwards for Q&A as well. So I'm going to pass it along to Edna to take it away.
great, thanks, Laura. So before we kind of get started into what our programs and services are, I think one of the best ways to kind of illustrate it is to share a story of how we are working to respond to the current needs of the community and working to reunite families. So since the U.S. withdrawal from Afghanistan, we've had a number of Afghan evacuees come and seek services with our office. And we're currently representing an individual who is a woman, we'll call her Ms. S, and she worked in Afghanistan with the United Nations, and she did programs that empowered young women and girls. And so with the withdrawal, and a little bit before the withdrawal, she actually knew what was coming. And so she fled with her children and left her husband behind. And so we're currently representing her in her asylum case. She's had 2 asylum interviews, and we hope to get a decision very soon on her case. But her husband was left behind in Kabul. The U.S. withdrew, and she was incredibly worried that he wasn't going to be able to be reunited with them, with the State Department no longer being in Afghanistan in the emergency situation. So we filed an emergency humanitarian parole application, which is kind of an emergency visa to try and get him to the United States in anticipation of him being able to get asylum once his wife did. So that application was granted, which we're really excited about, but we're currently working on trying to get him out of the country to be processed in. And so that's just, I think, a really good example of the work that we do. It's pretty technical. It's also at times very heartbreaking, but it really illustrates how we respond to the needs of the community. All of our clients here are very low income. That's the population that we serve. We have a lot of other community partners that serve immigrants in Central Texas, and we work with them very often, but all of our clients are at or below 200% of the poverty level. So, you know, for the past several years, immigration has been in the headlines. We have a new administration. There's some hope on the immigration forefront, although it's kind of been back and forth and back and forth. And so our work has changed a lot over the past few years, and it's been a really rocky road, not only for our staff, but really for the communities that we serve. There's a lot of uncertainty. There has been a lot of uncertainty in the past few years, and there continues to be that uncertainty, but we continue to provide legal services, education, advocacy, and correct information so that people will know what avenues of relief are available to them and what their rights are. So I had let you all know that I've been at the agency for 19 years, and the work that this agency does is very close to my heart. I myself am an immigrant. I naturalized when I was 18 years old, but I came at a time in the 70s with my family when immigration was much easier, right? I did a family-based case through my aunt and uncle via my parents, right? There were no visa waits. There were none of like the bars and things that, none of the long waits that currently hold immigrants up and that have really created backlogs within our system. And so what we try and do is help our clients navigate that, because I know how difficult it can be if you don't understand the system and you just think, well, I'm married to a US citizen, I should be able to come. So we provide that information, we provide that that guidance and that representation. So our mission is to serve low-income immigrants, and we do that through exceptional legal services, education, and advocacy. And that kind of really talks about the three main areas of work that we do. So we are unique because we're committed to serving the very low-income population in Central Texas, and because we're unique because of our longevity. So we were created in 1987. We have over 30 years within the community. And we have expertise in a lot of different forms of immigration relief. So there's humanitarian relief, like what I talked about with asylum and reunifying families. There's also removal defense for people who are in deportation proceedings, and other forms of humanitarian relief for victims of crime and victims of human trafficking as well. So through this work, we can do our part by upholding some of the values that we see as foundational values here in the US, right? To keep families together, and ensure them that there's fairness in the legal immigration system. We have 3 offices. Austin is our main office, and then we also have a similar sized office in San Antonio and a small satellite office in Waco, which helps us to expand our reach in those 23 counties, but I think also helps to have community members in some of the more disparate counties become involved, because there's always an office that is a little bit closer than, you know, if you wanted to volunteer. Some of our other offices are closer than Austin. So I'm gonna walk through what we do, our 3 main areas of work. We do our work in these 3 main areas so that we can provide as much assistance as possible to the immigrant community as we can, given our limited resources. So we do that through 3 programs: education, empowerment, and representation. So the first area of work is education. So we educate the immigrant community and also the greater community about how the legal system works. I think there's a lot of rhetoric and confusion around immigration in general. So we really work to reach as many people as possible and affect as many people as possible, their lives, to let them know what their rights are, what the current state of immigration is, and what they can do to help their community members and to make change as well. So this is our broadest area of reach. We partner with schools, churches, shelters, health centers, media outlets. We do these IJ 101s as well too, to spread information within the community about what we do and about immigration policy in general. We also work with frontline workers like advocates and law enforcement to train them on how to be an ally to the immigrants we serve. We've also partnered, so Chase, you know, with medical schools and with medical facilities, because a lot of immigrants are in our communities and they access the medical system and the healthcare system. And it comes to light that they may be from mixed families where some members of their families are US citizens and some members aren't. And so they have a lot of fear in accessing healthcare and accessing other resources. And so we partner with those agencies as well to give them accurate information that they can then pass on to their patients and clients, and to see if we can assist in other ways. So since COVID, all of our outreach has been virtual, hence our virtual IJ 101, because we used to do these in person. And so that has been like great and not great, right? It's great because we get to reach a lot more people virtually, right? So a lot of people who are maybe out of state or who wouldn't have time to come to one of these events, it's easy to log in. And so we're very grateful for that technology. And we do hope to have some of these in person sometime in the future so that we can have a little bit more personal contact, but possibly also keep some of these virtual to maintain that reach as well. So our second area of work is what I call empowerment. And so it's about advocacy and empowerment, because although we'd like to take on every single case that comes to our door, and a lot of our attorneys try and do that, but we tell them that that's not the best way to preserve their own mental health and to provide the representation that folks need. We use a program of clinics and workshops. So we empower immigrants by showing them what their role is in the legal system and how they fit into it. And we give them tools to be their own best advocate. You know, our clients have gone through a lot, and they also are scrappy and intelligent, and they can definitely be their own best advocate. They just need the appropriate tools and the correct information to be able to do that. So between our 3 offices, we provide legal orientation to detainees at 4 federal detention centers in Central Texas. And this is one of our most important areas of work, I think, because there are thousands of detained individuals who are coming to seek asylum, or long-term residents that have been arrested and detained, but still have relief to remain here in the United States, and they're separated from their families. So prior to the pandemic, we were at these facilities in person at least twice a week. We would go 2 to 4 times a week. We would go to the facilities, we'd meet with individuals in large groups, we'd give them information about why they're detained, what their legal rights are, and the next steps, and then help them identify forms of relief that they could apply for. Since the pandemic, we have been doing all of this virtually, which makes it more difficult. So we have been able to get some Zoom access in some of the facilities, but also we communicate via fax, via phone, via mail, a lot slower, but we do provide the same services, and we try and provide them at the same quality level as well to help people apply for asylum, to help them apply for relief to cancel their deportation and reunite with their families. We do this in their own language. We break down the immigration system from its complicated kind of legal language into a format that they can understand, so they can help themselves to prepare the applications and forms that they need. We help with translations, and then we walk them through what's going to happen so that they can really advocate for themselves and know how best to present their case. And it gives them a fighting chance to win their cases to remain here in the United States. The vast majority of individuals who are detained or in immigration proceedings do not have legal representation. And so we do what we can to give those individuals a fighting chance with this information. The other area where we provide this empowerment and advocacy tool is in the greater community, right? So we do that really through legal clinics. So we get pro bono help from private attorneys, and then we get help from volunteers within the community as well. And this helps maximize our impact. So about twice a year, we hold large-scale citizenship clinics in San Antonio, where in the past, prior to COVID, we've helped 100+ individuals apply for their US citizenship. We did this for Dreamers when DACA happened as well too. And then the pandemic put things at a stop and stalled things. But recently, last month, we were able to go back in person, and we helped a little over 50 people apply for their US citizenship. We did it socially distanced with protective gear, and it was really an amazing thing to see. When we did a call out for our citizenship clinic as well, we had over 450 people call us to be put in the clinic. So we were only able to serve 54. So we're going to do it again in February, and we have another one scheduled in June, because we want to meet that need and make sure that those community members get the information that they need so that they can apply for citizenship. In January, another example of our clinics are our asylum clinics. Central Texas, Austin in particular, is getting several hundred Afghan evacuees. So we are holding a citizenship or an asylum clinic so that those individuals can apply for asylum, and then walking them through that process and what to expect in general. And then our last area of work is to provide direct legal representation. I would say that everyone that comes to our door needing immigration assistance wants us to be their legal representative, their attorney. And we would like to represent them all, but we can't, just because of the way that our resources are. this is our most intensive area of work. And in 2020, we provided legal representation to over 2,000 cases, and that's with a legal staff of 38. And even with that, that's only a quarter of the need that we see coming to our door, which is why we do the education and the empowerment as well too, to be able to help as many people as possible. So people in immigration proceedings don't have the right to government-funded counsel. They have to navigate an incredibly confusing immigration system with immigration policies that change the application of immigration law. I mean, monthly, really, when you look at the news and see all the things that are happening. And they're often up against a trained government attorney, and everything has to be done in English, right? Which is oftentimes the second language for the vast majority of our clients. Studies show that detained immigrants who are represented are up to 10 times more likely to establish a right to remain in the United States than those who are unrepresented. So we know that legal representation matters, and that it is something that is very important for the immigrant community. So our staff takes on cases for direct representation in-house. We also have a network of pro bono private attorneys in the community. So these are people who have legal skills, but maybe don't do immigration work daily. And so we mentor them and we help them so that they can also represent our clients as well too. And so that helps to maximize what we can do in the community. Full representation looks like a number of years of commitment to a case. So we conduct a full interview to determine all of the viable immigration options. We meet with clients several times to really flesh out and prepare their case. And then we provide the representation before immigration. So depending on the case type, it could be anywhere from 3 months to 8+ years. With the slowdown in the immigration system, the vast majority of our cases are 5 to 10 years, sometimes even more, as they're waiting for decisions and court hearings. So those are just a general overview of our 3 main areas of services, but we do much more. I feel like we are a part of the whole fabric of social justice here in Central Texas and in the United States as well. We're on the ground, we connect our clients to all the resources that they need, and we inform the community about what's happening. And I think that that is also incredibly important to give folks accurate information about immigration law, about immigrants in our community, and about the things that are changing as well. We support policy debates and litigation and ensure fairness to the immigrant community through that support as well too. So I hope that this has been informative. I know it's a real long time for me to talk. So what I will end on is kind of the same as what I started on, which is a client story. Because again, I think that that really illustrates the impact of our work on families and individuals. So several years ago, we were able to represent Matilde and Cindy. Cindy is 7 years old and she has cerebral palsy. And they're from Honduras, which is a place where there is virtually no health or physical infrastructure to support the rights of persons with disabilities. And so Matilde was a single mom, and she found herself caring for her daughter on her own, while also pretty much being denied access to any type of healthcare or social support for her daughter who really needed it. So she was worried about Cindy's future, and she went to all kinds of different places to try and clear that structurally and systemically she wasn't going to get that help in Honduras. So Matilde made the decision to come to the United States because she knew that there was infrastructure here and that her daughter would have a chance to live a very full and productive life. She carried Cindy in her arms all the way from Honduras to the United States because she didn't have a wheelchair or any other way to get her here. And when she came to the US, and then she was able to arrive in Austin, and she was able to find us and seek assistance. And so we were able to represent her. We actually found pro bono representation through a team of private attorneys who were really interested in helping this mother and daughter. And then a year later, they were granted asylum by an immigration judge, which was amazing. And so now Cindy is getting the health services that she needs. They are stable here. Matilde is working, and Cindy's health and well-being have vastly improved since she's come to the United States, and her quality of life has really improved. So you can see the impact, the direct impact on just a few people of the work that we do. And I think there are many more stories like that that are incredibly compelling about our clients and how our work and representation really changes their lives. So each week we get about 30 individuals who call our offices, 30 individuals like Matilde and Cindy who are calling and saying, I need help. And because of capacity, we're able to help about 6 of those 30 who call, which is heartbreaking. But it's also just the reality of what our resources really are. So the need is far greater than we can handle. But we do try and maximize what we can do in terms of impact for the immigrant community.
Thank you, Edna, for sharing that overview of our work. For those who recently joined us, please feel free, if you have any questions, to drop them in the chat. We will also be taking some questions at the end as well. So I just wanted to take a time to share with y'all just what the impact of our services look like, but through the eyes of those that we have the honor and privilege to serve. So I'm going to show a quick video here, and it's about 3 minutes long, and then we'll come together after this is over. So let me go ahead and hit play.
I remember I was going to my job like every morning at 7:30, and I was backing up my car when I heard a kind of explosion. I heard somebody cry out. They shout on the judge and shout on the judge. They're talking about me. Like I'm the only judge in this street. It was like if I don't run away right now, I don't have any chance to survive in this country.
Bueno, yo me vine para acá, sufrí mucho por el camino, me tuvieron como en 6 bodegas ahí en McAllen, me golpeaban, me levantaban así como estaba herida, a que yo me levantara a hacerle comida a todos, y si sobraba comida, me daban a mí, y si no, no me daban. Yo estaba desesperada y solo llorando pasaba. Muchos hombres ahí conmigo.
There was a civil war going on in my country. So the guerrillas had captured my dad. My dad managed to get away and fled from them. After multiple weeks of trying to look for him and they couldn't find him, they came after us. So eventually my dad just said, you know what, it's too much of a risk for you guys to be down there. I want you guys to come to me.
You can't understand when you land in a new country, you have nobody, you have nothing. You just need to explain what happened to you, but you don't know where to go, who to talk to. And you open the door and somebody from American Gateway told you, yes, just see.
My mom didn't know English at the time, so filling out forms and that kind of stuff was really hard for her. So through one of her friends, she found out that there was a place here in Austin that helped immigrants like us fill those paperwork, submit them to immigration, and get everything in order.
Sí, los conocí ya cuando estaba en la detención. Una señora me dijo, habla con el abogado, era un abogado. Y él me decía, yo te voy a ayudar, no llores.
First paragraph, they say you have the right to remain in this country, like as long as you want.
Y pues cuando salí y me dijeron que yo tenía la visa T y me dijeron que los beneficios que traía esa visa era de traer a mi familia.
On the day of being sworn in, I was just really nervous. I didn't know what to expect. I just looked back at my mom and I said thank you, because without all her struggles, all her hard work, and Gateway's help with this, I wouldn't have made it.
Es la ayuda más grande que he recibido en toda mi vida, de tener a mi familia conmigo gracias a esa organización.
You don't realize how life is precious and somebody trying to take it off from you. So American Gateways open the gate for me for a better future.
Like everybody there enjoys what they're doing and they know they're actually making a difference in people's lives. And well, now, I don't have to worry about immigration. I don't have to worry about things like that. I have an opportunity of a better life, and not just for me, but not for my kids. I don't have words that'll probably even express what I feel in gratitude toward them, but I am just super thankful.
So this is one of my favorite videos that we have, but we actually have a number that are posted on our YouTube channel. So if you would like to see more client stories, feel free to check us out on our YouTube channel. So just these three individuals were three of thousands of folks that we've had the privilege and honor of walking alongside and providing legal advocacy for, and just opening up kind of greater opportunities to thrive, right? So, but this work is really only made possible in partnership with community allies like yourselves and friends in the community that are able to support us. And so we truly rely on partnerships with folks in our community to fulfill our mission of providing quality immigration legal services to those who are unable to afford a private attorney and afford legal representation through a private attorney. And so there are kind of three distinct ways that if you're interested in partnering with us, we would love to partner with you. The first way is to give. So this photo up here is a really cute photo of a very young philanthropist who held a lemonade stand for us, and she wanted to give us the earnings of her lemonade stand. And so we love Edith. And so that's just an example of one of our many individual supporters, but it's individual donations like this that allow us a lot of flexibility to do the work that we need when emerging needs come up, like what Edna was talking about, clinics that we're going to be offering to Afghan evacuees this coming new year. When things were happening with DACA, we were able to offer legal clinics for young dreamers, but it's through individual donations that allow us to do that because we can pivot really quickly. We don't have a lot of restrictions like grants have. And so it's a really important part of our work is to kind of work with our community, and we really, really appreciate our donors and our folks who support us financially. I know links are being dropped in the chat if you're interested in giving. Another way that you can partner with us is by volunteering. So Edna also mentioned pro bono attorneys and folks who do translations. Like when we began as an organization in the late 80s, it was out of pro bono attorneys. These were the folks who identified a need and they wanted to make a difference. And so this is still a huge part of our DNA as American Gateways. We rely on thousands of hours of volunteer hours every year. Last year, I want to say our volunteers leveraged over $700,000 of support for American Gateways through their hours of volunteering with us. And so pro bono attorneys, we need a lot of support from, even if they don't have immigration legal experience. We will train them, mentor them, walk alongside as they provide that legal assistance to clients. And then also, like Edna had mentioned, interpreters and translators. Every single document that is submitted to immigration must be translated into English. And so we rely on the expertise of a lot of translators and volunteers. And as well, Chase, kind of thinking about you and your background, we rely a lot on physicians as well to do medical exams for our clients. We work with a lot of counselors and therapists who will do exams as well for our clients to provide that support to strengthen their case. And so a ton of our volunteers are also in that field as well. So there are links again being dropped in the chat if you are interested in volunteering, and our volunteer coordinator Sara would love to connect with you. And then finally, another way to partner with us is just to amplify our voice. We're pretty active on our social media platforms, and so like us, follow us, share the stuff that we share, just to kind of get our name out there so folks know that we're a resource that's available to the community. And so those are kind of our partnership opportunities that we have. We would love to partner with y'all, and we want to open up this time also just for Q&A. If y'all have any questions for us, we would love to answer them.
I had a quick question. First of all, thanks so much for that presentation. For what you guys do, it sounds awesome. In regards to kind of like asylums like waiting for their case, during that time, do you guys offer them like connections within the community, like that they're at, either if it's San Antonio, Austin, Waco, just as like social support, like housing, food, shelter, basic medical things?
Yeah, so we actually have a lot of different community partners. So we work with Refugee Services of Texas, Caritas, Center for Survivors of Torture. other organizations to link people up with different resources. And so we aren't social service providers in that we have case managers, but we link to all those different organizations, and they know us and we know them. And so we do cross referrals as well too. And we found that to be super helpful. So we very much rely on the communities in areas where we work to be able to provide that specific, to meet those specific needs.
Cool, yeah, thank you. And then just one more question, sorry. So I've only done, or I've set in on a few like of the forensic medical evals. I'm part of like the PHR branch here in San Antonio. And I was wondering, like, I've only seen like those evals, once those are finished, like what's kind of like, I guess your guys' role after that?
So once we get those evaluations, they're really great in terms of documenting in a very like medical, like black and white, this is how this person has suffered and like the physical harms of that individual. And a lot of times we use that with adjudication. So if someone's applying for asylum with the Houston Asylum Office, we will submit that, and it supports the testimony that someone might talk about, like in terms of like, I was beaten, this is what happened, I have these scars. So they're not also having to show someone their scars as well too. Same in court with the judges. You know, we provide that to opposing counsel because we have to, and then they can take a look at it as well. And then the judges, and I will say medical reports are really, really compelling, especially with opposing counsel, because there are times when opposing counsel will say like, well, you know, I don't really have any questions or follow-up questions on past harm because it's pretty well documented. And that also helps with the clients because then they maybe don't have to go into as much detail on things that are very traumatic. And can really impact their mental health, even though they know they'll have to for their case. So we try and partner with Physicians for Human Rights and other medical partners throughout the counties that we serve to provide those.
All right, cool, thank you very much.
Thanks.
Any other questions? We don't want to take y'all's time. We know you're taking your lunch hour with us. No?
I wanted to ask if you have already mentioned, I'm sorry, I didn't get it. What like volunteer opportunities are there, and like how would you be able to sign up?
Yeah, definitely. So we have a bunch of different volunteer opportunities, but the two main ones that we are always needing assistance with are with pro bono attorneys. So folks who are willing to take on a case, a legal case, and provide that support, and also with interpreters and translators. And so every single document that's submitted to immigration needs to be translated into English. We have our volunteer coordinator, Sarai, would love to connect with anybody who is willing to provide any type of volunteerism with the organization. And so we will be circulating after this presentation links to connect with our volunteer coordinator, Sarai. So attorneys, interpreters, we have some administrative stuff as well that we could use some assistance with, but those are kind of our two main opportunities for volunteerism.
Thank you.
Sure. Did you have a question, Sarah?
Oh, well, maybe we can connect after or another time, but I do work for an attorney and I'm trying to get him involved. So I want to learn more about the whole process for the pro bono.
Awesome. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we will include all of these links in a follow-up email. And so Edna is actually our pro bono coordinator. So she would be connecting with y'all about pro bono work.
Awesome. Thanks.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate y'all's time. Thank you again so much for spending your lunch hour with us this Friday. We'll be following up with an email with all of this information as well. And so we would love to stay connected with y'all. But we again appreciate your time, and we'll see you soon. Have a great weekend.